In an era where freedom of speech should be prevailing, an alarming trend is taking shape. Pro-Palestinian voices are facing increasing threats and harassment. As we delve into this issue, we find that the rising chorus of pro-Palestinian voices is primarily coming from academic and journalistic spaces. Yet, the response to these voices has been, worryingly, one of suppression and intimidation. Take the case of David Miller, a professor at Bristol University in Britain. He faced accusations of anti-Semitism following a lecture on the Zionist movement's involvement in promoting Islamophobia. Critics argue that the attacks on Miller rely on mischaracterizations of his arguments and political views. Whether or not one agrees with Miller's views, the attempt to silence him is a worrying sign of the times. But this trend isn't limited to academia. Journalists are feeling the pressure too. The rise in dismissals and sidelining of media professionals expressing pro-Palestinian or balanced views on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is a testament to this. Journalists are being targeted for their social media opinions even if they were posted years ago. This has created a culture of fear in newsrooms, leading to a slant in coverage that overwhelmingly favors the pro-Israel narrative. And it's not just in Britain. In Israel, activists advocating for Palestinian rights are facing an increase in fear and harassment, especially following the recent conflict between Israel and Hamas. Protests and expressions of support for Gaza have been met with crackdowns, suspensions, and arrests. These developments raise serious concerns about the state of free speech in our society. The increasing threats against pro-Palestinian voices, whether they be academics, journalists, or activists, paint a worrying picture of the world we live in. It's a world where the freedom to express one's views is increasingly under threat, particularly if those views challenge the dominant narrative. The rise of pro-Palestinian voices has not been met with open dialogue, but rather a forceful backlash. In an era where we celebrate diversity and freedom of speech, it is disheartening to see the suppression of pro-Palestinian voices. This suppression takes many forms, but some of the most common include accusations of anti-Semitism, job dismissals, and social media harassment. Let's take a moment to consider the case of David Miller, a professor at Bristol University. Accused of making anti-Semitic comments in a lecture about the Zionist movement's involvement in promoting Islamophobia, critics argue that these accusations rely on misinterpretations of his arguments and political views. Here we see a clear example of suppression, an attempt to silence the pro-Palestinian narrative by weaponizing the term anti-Semitism, a serious and genuine concern, but one that is sometimes misused to stifle legitimate critique and discussion. Miller's case is not an isolated incident. Academics who have spoken out against Zionism have also faced similar pressure, risking their professional standing and livelihood for expressing their views. In the media landscape, the suppression of pro-Palestinian voices is also evident. Journalists and commentators who express balanced views on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict are often sidelined or dismissed. In some cases, they have been targeted for their social media opinions, even if those opinions were expressed years ago. This trend has resulted in a chilling effect, creating a culture of fear in newsrooms and leading to a pro-Israel slant in coverage. This backlash, devastating as it is, only reveals the lengths some will go to suppress a narrative that challenges the status quo. Despite the threats and harassment, pro-Palestinian voices are not backing down. Rather, they're rising in strength, unity, and resolve. This wave of resistance is marked by an inspiring show of solidarity from various quarters of society. In the midst of this struggle, Arab Americans and progressive allies are stepping up to the plate. They're taking up the mantle to protect constitutional rights, ensuring that freedom of speech is not stifled under the weight of fear and intimidation. They're documenting incidents of pressure and harassment, creating a record that bears witness to the challenges faced by those who choose to speak out. This action is not just a response, it's a proactive stance against the silencing of pro-Palestinian perspectives. Journalists and academics are also part of this growing resistance. They are holding their ground, refusing to be bullied into silence. They are the watchdogs, the educators, the individuals who are committed to truth and balance, even in the face of potential career-ending risks. They understand the price of their defiance but they also recognize the cost of silence. In their resilience, they embody the spirit of free speech, demonstrating that no amount of intimidation can suppress the truth indefinitely. This rising resistance is not just about the struggle for Palestinian rights. It's a testament to the power of unity in the face of adversity. It's a demonstration of what can be achieved when people come together, standing up for justice and truth. It's about challenging the status quo and daring to speak out, even when your voice shakes. This resistance, this solidarity, is a beacon of hope. It's a reminder that when voices unite against oppression, they can create a resounding echo that is hard to ignore. It's a call to action, a call to stand up for what is right, a call to stand against what is wrong. In the face of adversity, these voices continue to stand firm, reminding us all of the power of resilience and solidarity. Their strength is not in their numbers, but in their unwavering resolve to uphold the principles of justice, freedom, and truth. Their courage serves as a powerful reminder that the fight for rights and freedoms is a collective one, a reminder that together we can make a difference. This isn't just about pro-Palestinian voices, it's about the fundamental right to freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is the cornerstone of any democratic society. It allows us to express our ideas, challenge prevailing narratives, and engage in robust and meaningful debates. When we allow any voice, regardless of its nature, to be suppressed, we risk creating an environment where only one narrative dominates. This leads to a society that is less vibrant, less inclusive, and less democratic. Suppressing voices not only stifles individual expression, it also has broader social implications. It fosters a culture of fear and self-censorship where people are afraid to voice their opinions for fear of retribution. It hampers the free flow of ideas and information, which is essential for a healthy and functioning democracy. Protecting every voice, even those we disagree with, is crucial. It ensures that we have a diversity of perspectives, which enriches our understanding of complex issues. It also fosters a culture of tolerance and respect for differing views. In conclusion, the right to freedom of speech is more than just an individual right. It's a collective responsibility. It's about ensuring that our society remains open, inclusive, and democratic. Protecting the right to freedom of speech is a responsibility we all share. If one voice is silenced, we are all at risk.